Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tap In with Tristan. I'm really excited about this one. We got a big time guest. Before we even get into it, I just need to make sure that you all hit that subscription button for me and click that notification bell so we get some more of this beautiful content. You'll be notified. Again, I don't want to hold you too much longer, but we got Miss Kia Wright. Talk to him, Kia.
How y'all doing? Thank you for having me up here, Tristan. I appreciate you.
Oh man, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. You are a legend to so many. So I'm excited to hear your backstory and learn about you a little bit more, and you give some free game to our audience. So
of course.
Thank you. Sharing this platform. This is going to be dope.
Anytime.
Let's go back to the beginning, Kia. Where did we grow up? You know what I mean? What did we start getting into? When did we start getting into these sports and everything like that?
The story that I was told, because I can't remember that far, my dad put a basketball in my crib when I was a little girl. And I guess he just set the tone right then and there. From what I remember, I was about like 7 years old. It started. Like my cousins next door, Ed Brown. I lived on 42nd Street in Copiague. Okay. 40s, what's up? Right. So I see them outside playing ball like almost every day. And I'm like, I want to get out there with them. So I went out there one day and I just started like, you know how you start shooting from underneath. And I'm just like, I started that at that point. And then from there, I just loved the game. And it propelled into something like I was the first girl at 7 years old to play in Copiague Youth League. I played in St. Martin's program. Like it just started at the age of 7, from what I remember, like that passionate love, and I never let it go.
So seven is your real first memory of sports. Was it basketball only? And you know, really, how was that? You know, and growing up in a neighborhood. For those who don't know, it's Copiague, New York, Long Island. What's the temperature going on like around that age? Was it just basketball, and then you know how was the environment at home and everything?
It was just basketball. Okay. That's all. I was locked in. I was focused. I mean, I was good at other things. You know, I would play in the streets, play football. You know, I love kickball, softball, any sport I can get my hands on, I would play. But of course, that love was just for basketball. Like that was my tunnel vision. Like I loved it. I remember growing up, I would get in trouble for leaving the streets to go play ball at these local parks. Like my grandma, my grandpa, everybody would be looking for me. They was like, she probably around here playing basketball somewhere. I was always finding a way.
You were sneaking out to try to find some good run.
Everywhere. I was at your cousin's house most of the time. Phil Smith, Jeffrey, Jeremy, over there playing ball with them. We would go travel around the local areas to try to play basketball wherever we could.
So that was your outlet as a youth, was the basketball.
Definitely. So definitely every day that I could play, I was out there doing it.
There's going to be some youth that can relate to that, and even some adults. So were you good? Were you good right away, or you know you had 2 left feet out there? How was that? Because not everybody's story is the same.
It came naturally. It really did. Like I didn't struggle with too much. Like it just, like the speed was there, the handles, the shot, like the defensive, like everything was just clicking. Like I just felt like that gift was just instilled in me since a youth, you know? So I'm blessed for that. Like I appreciate that. I'm grateful for that. Like I never really struggled with too much with that. That probably worked against me in a way.
Okay.
Probably worked against me in a way.
We'll definitely talk about that. So you kind of had a natural gift for this basketball. And not only did you have a natural gift, you fell in love with it early in the game.
Super early.
So talk to me about being able to play in the neighborhood. When was your first memory of playing on a team?
Playing on a team. Please forgive me if I'm wrong.
No.
It was the Lakers. We were purple and gold. I actually have, you know, we had camcorders back in the day. We didn't have these phones to pull out and record these games.
Yeah, don't like that.
Yeah, like that. My aunt. We showing our age. But my aunt, she had like tapes from when I was playing in the Copiague Youth League. And I remember telling her, like, I want to try to copy these tapes and get them onto like a disc or get them on somewhere. So I remember I actually have like footage of it. Like my whole family was there. It was 7 years. I was 7 years old playing on the Lakers team. Again, the only girl in the league for Copiague Youth League. And
So you playing against the boys?
Worked out. Playing against the boys all my life.
You playing against the boys
since 7 years old. Not afraid of them either. Like
holding
we
it
won
down.
our championships.
And you won a championship?
Always. Yep. 7 years old. Only girl on the team, making it work.
Making it work. So how's the family? I mean, how's the family down there? I mean, we grew up right next to each other, so I know. But for the people that don't know, what's the buzz like in the family? Do they recognize that we might have something special here?
Of course, my dad knew right away when he put that ball on my
He
crib.
knew right away.
Yeah, right away, because he was hard in that. Because he was pretty good and active in sports, football, baseball. My mom played basketball, volleyball. My aunt played volleyball, basketball. Like I come from a sports family, so on both sides. Right. So it was instilled in me from birth, pretty much.
Wow, this is fascinating. So how did you recognize it? I didn't ask you know what I mean? You love the game, you see it's kind of that, but did you recognize, I'm cooking the boys, I'm right here and there, or you just doing your thing?
A little chubby.
Did you get that, or you want me to repeat that?
It started to break up a little bit.
I was saying,
can you repeat that for me?
Yeah, when you kind of in your elementary stage, did you recognize like I'm really, really good, or you were just hooping?
I was just hooping at that point. Okay. It didn't hit me that I was really, really good until about middle school when I started to play AAU. I started out with the Silver Bullets. Okay. And it didn't work out with them. And there was a guy named Ali Lizard. He came and he found me. He sent somebody's parents to one of my parents, and he was just like, I need her on my team. And it went from there. And I'm like, who's this guy that wants me to play on his team? Like, and I was nervous, like, because they already had their team set up. You know, I'm shy naturally. So I'm like, I don't know these girls. Like, I don't know if I want to go. But right. That changed my life. Like, and I realized like how good I was playing for him. Like, okay. Because I started getting college letters in middle school. And we would play in the top tournaments all over the world. Like, we would travel state to state playing against the top competition. And like college coaches would be in the gym. So it was just like, oh, okay, I must be good. I still have the bin for the letters too. I never threw them out. I still have the full bin since middle school.
My mind is blown. So you getting recognition from some of the top colleges in the country in middle school.
In middle school.
How are you processing this? How's the family? Family knew you was gonna be good, but then they know it was gonna be like this. They
didn't actually, because again, all this stuff is new. You know, I'm getting collegiate letters. You know, at one point, you know, coaches are calling. They're coming up to my parents at games, and I guess they were overwhelmed a little bit, dealing with the process. I mean, I was as well, but we handled it. We made it work. You know, right. We had to just go based off our instincts because, again, this is all new to our family. Yep. You know, the recruiting process. So it was overwhelming, but we stuck it out. We got through it together.
Absolutely. Now, how are you as a student? You know, because that's another aspect that goes with it. You know what I mean? It is a student athlete. You're in the middle school. You're out there cooking on the court and everything. How was the classroom? Were you able to handle that?
I handled it, but I'm going to tell you, I didn't fully apply myself all the time in school, right. And I kind of dealt with it. I had to deal with it when I was going to UConn. I had to retake a couple of classes from 9th grade in the 12th grade. So I'm in 12th grade, sitting in 9th grade classes because I didn't apply myself my 9th grade year. Right. So again, you kids that are watching this, you have to apply yourself all the time, not even just when you feel like it. Even when you don't feel like it, you must apply yourself. Because I was embarrassed as a 12th grader sitting in a 9th grade class. And like
all American status.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, I'm in here with these freshmen, like, and the teacher would call on me and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? But I had to set the tone. I had to, I guess, show these kids what not to do.
Sure.
You know,
This
don't take
is,
anything for granted.
this is one of the reasons why we're doing this, kid. So I appreciate the transparency. Is, you know, there's some things that we did that they can learn from, good and bad and indifferent. So this is the reason why we're talking about that. Because yeah, I can relate. You know, I was doing it as a formality. You know what I mean? It's part of the package. You got to go to class. But you know, I'm in the classroom joking and doing those types of things. But like you said, some of those things will come back on you if you don't take care of business.
Exactly.
So now we're silver bullets. Y'all going state to state. You know what I'm saying? You're well recognized and everything like that. Let's talk about these high school years. When we cross into high school now, we got varsity and everything like that. When did you start playing varsity?
Okay, before we get to that, the AAU team that I went to was the Long Island Wave. I left the Silver Bullets program to go to the Long Island Wave.
Okay, thank you for
we were the first.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, no problem. We were the first New York State team at 13 years old to win a national championship. That's some history for y'all too. But I started playing varsity in 8th grade. I was good enough to play in the 7th grade, but the athletic director was there. I'm not gonna say no names, but she didn't think that I would be mature enough as a 7th grader to play on a varsity level, so they held me back a year. But eventually, I started playing in 8th grade.
This is mind blowing. This is mind blowing. So your skill set is that of, you know what I mean, like young, you know, adults, and here you are still in the middle school. And
yeah,
talk to me about that. You know what I mean? Let's talk about that 8th grade year going up to varsity. Did you feel some animosity from your peers? Did you get did you get looked at? Because you know, you coming from the middle school up to the high school. Who is this? You know what I mean? Talk to us about that 8th grade year. Your phone died. I think her phone died.
Oh my gosh.
Your phone
I
died?
apologize. Let me see. There we go. I'm back.
We back in there.
Does it pick off from where we left off, or we?
We're still good. We're still good.
All right, cool. My bad. The phone call was coming through.
Yep.
I'm on Do Not Disturb now, so hopefully nobody interrupts this.
Yeah, that's right, man. We're gonna be okay.
All right, cool.
So we're talking about that 8th grade year, going in that first year of varsity. You know, talk to us, because you know this is special. This is special.
Honestly, from what I can remember, you know, I was naturally shy. Like I wasn't coming in trying to step on anybody's toes. I just wanted to kind of fit in. Like I'm a young 8th grader coming, like these high school seniors, juniors, sophomores. I'm just like, hey guys, like I'm good, but I'm here to be your teammate. I'm just trying to get better, you know, with you guys. And a lot of them were welcoming. A lot of them weren't too like, who is she, you know, because again, they weren't doing that well when I joined the team. So eventually, like we got it together. We bonded a little bit, but after a while, they realized that I was something special. Right. And I remember specifically, I think, how much I wanted to fit in and just wanted to be a part of the team. Like I think we were down by like 2 points at one point at the end of the game. You know, I'm making my move. I'm right at the basket. I pass it to my teammate, because that's just who I am. And I just wanted her to feel like I'm not a ball hog. You know, I'm going to give you the ball so you can try to score. And she missed. And she felt so bad afterwards. And I was just like, you know what? It's okay. Like, that's just who I was as a player. You know, I just wanted to make sure my teammates always realized that I wasn't trying to steal the shine from them. Like, I just wanted them to feel good about themselves as well, so we can get things done. But my father was like, why did you pass her the ball? I'm like, I'm a young 8th grader, Dad. I thought that was the right pass. You know what I'm saying? So I think at that moment they realized, okay, like, she ain't really trying to outshine us. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a part of this. And I was a selfless player. So 8th grade, it was interesting, but it was a good experience to have.
That's awesome, because I mean that kind of transfers over to how you are off the court. You're pretty selfless, you know what I mean? So I've been fortunate to know you personally, so that's dope. How was the parents and everything going into this varsity? Were they hard on you, or they just kind of let you rock?
My parents?
Yeah.
My dad, you know, my moms are like, oh, okay, my baby, bye. But my dad, he was the sergeant. You know, he knew what I had instilled in me. And, you know, sometimes I didn't always see it. And he was just like, why get 20 when you get 30? Why get 30 when you know you can get 40? Like, you got to start from the start. Like, once that jump ball starts, that, you know, you got to start from the beginning. And like, he was, I won't say hard on me, but he pushed me. He made sure that I was always prepared for any moment, even outside of, you know, basketball court.
That's awesome. How was you taking that? Did you feel like sometimes he was hard on you? Because, you know, you got some parents that mean well, but they don't know how to deliver it. And then the kid starts to feel like, yo, you going way too hard. And then later on in life, you're like, I see what you was doing. Was that your story? Or you was like, nah, this is appropriate at the time?
There was some times where I was just like, all right, you're doing too much. And, you know, I'm a young kid. I still want to be able to enjoy the youth side of it outside of basketball, you know. But I see it now. I didn't see it back then. And I think that's what happens a lot of times in life, like, because your parents, they've been there.
Yep.
You don't have nothing in your mind about what life is. And they just try to help you push you through that. And you don't appreciate it back then. But now that I'm an older adult, older woman, it's just like, okay, I see why. So kids, if you're watching this, when your parents are on you about certain things, like, it's not because they're trying to be hard on you. It's like life experiences and they're trying to prepare you for it. So lock in with that and appreciate those moments. Don't wait till you get older and be like, dang, appreciate them when you're starting young. Appreciate them at a young age.
1,000. So now you're, you know, now you're crossing over to fully being in the school, you know, 9th grade now. What's the thought process? I got 1 year under my belt. I'm a varsity player. Are you still playing with the Long Island Wave? Let's talk about some of these high school years, because these are special times around Copiague, New York, for the women, the young girls program. Let's talk about it.
That's when I got into 9th grade, who was there? Was Jasmine Walker there?
Yep.
I think Angela Clark was there.
Yep.
That's we had twins, Latoya Sills.
Yeah.
So we had some hoopers ready to, you know.
You really did. You really did.
we started to pick it up. We started to make noise, you know what I'm saying? So we became who we were back in, as soon as I crossed over to high school, you know. So I had some talent with me, and it worked out. And every year from 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, we got better and better, like making noise out here in Long Island. Like, people didn't know about Copiague too much. You know, we had a struggle team for a minute.
Yep.
So during that time when we crossed over to high school, they knew about us from here to the city,
yep.
all over. So we built it up together. And I'm not gonna take all the credit, you know.
Yeah.
So we earned the respect, and we made people want to stay home. You know, sometimes kids, they transfer to prep schools, they transfer to private schools. Like, we let it be known that you can stay in a public school and still do your thing and still shine and get Division I scholarships, you know, even Division II scholarships and Division III, you know what I'm saying? It's not always about the D1, but it just gave the people the opportunity to be seen. And it's just, there's nothing wrong with sometimes staying home, at least for my experience.
Absolutely.
And my teammates' experience.
Absolutely. So how's the recruitment going on? You know what I mean? Because, you know, you got this, at this time, that AAU and high school is pretty important when it comes to recruitment. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
The recruitment.
now it's heavy AAU driven, you know what I mean? But you know, kind of when we was coming up, there was some value in that high school team that you was playing with.
Yeah, but I will say most of my recognition came from playing AAU.
Absolutely.
Like having a solid program, like
Yep.
a legit program that is not after your money, is not after trying to grab the best good people from and just go out to these tournaments to play. We really built a family structure, a family bond, and we was practicing 3 times a week almost.
Wow.
And some of my teammates came from Westchester. Some of my teammates came from Staten Island to go practice in Westbury.
Wow.
So it's just like we were playing against Christ the King high school program boys team.
Wow.
So we were playing against the boys team, Mitchell Buford, Mike Claxton. We had local kids from Westbury coming to pull up to play against us. Like we were serious about this.
Yes, sir. So y'all playing against boys, and I mean these boys are Division I basketball players.
Exactly.
So y'all get battle tested. So by the time y'all hit the circuit, we already ready for this thing.
We were very prepared. Like I said, my coach Ali Lizard, he would get out there and play against us. Sorry. You still good? The noise?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we good.
Okay. So again, the parents, the fathers would get out there and play against us, you know? So it's just like we were always playing against grown men, high school players, varsity players that, like you said, went D1. So we were always prepared either way.
So now what's the recruitment look like? You know what I mean? Who's starting? You already have people hitting you up in middle school. You making noise on AAU circuit, you making noise at Copiague High School. What's this looking like now? Because I know they knocking on the door. They hitting up the phone. They sending the letters. You was already a bit overwhelmed. I can imagine right now what's going through your mind with it getting closer and closer to the future, even if it might be a little distant. I'm gonna have to make a college decision. Let's talk about that.
It was tough, you know, like my favorite color was red. So I'm like, wherever I go, I want to make sure that the team has red in it. And so I narrowed it down. I wanted to go to Maryland. I was looking into Georgia, Rutgers. St. John's wasn't on the list at all, I'll tell you that. And UConn was looking at me as well. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I tore my ACL one summer. It was a tournament in Vegas. Gino was there. Coach Vivian was there. Like it was a top
Star
tournament.
Yeah,
the summer going into my senior year. So a lot of college coaches backed off of me.
Wow.
Like I wasn't getting that same love. But it turns out the #1 school in the country still wanted me. So I'm like, yeah, and you know, Gino pulled up and his Benz parked in my driveway. Coach Vivian came here, sat in the living room with my family. Like it was, I will say when I tore my ACL, like it kind of like did something to my spirit. I'm like, yo, these colleges are backing off for me. Like I really wanted to go to Maryland. I really wanted to go to Maryland. That was my #1. So once I didn't get that love, once I tore my ACL, it kind of crushed me. But when I still got Rutgers and UConn coming to my house, I'm like, okay, you still all right, you know? So I made my decision, you know, I made my decision to go to UConn. I had to step into that, you know, like, how can you turn down the #1 school in the country? Even after you tore your ACL, they still want you. You have to step into that. And that's how my recruitment ended, with that decision right there.
You tore your ACL. Some people don't come back from that at all.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of these college coaches thought about it. Like, yo, she's not going to be the same player. Like, she's not going to be worth anything. So they backed off. A lot of them backed off during that time.
And I know you're a hard worker. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to put that work and that time in. And then they also see the couple of top 2 teams in the nation was like, nah, she's going to be back. We still with her. And that meant
I think from the story that I was told, the reason why Gino was still like interested in me, because he seen, I think Sue Bird tore her ACL and she was still a dominant player for him. So he was just like, ACL, she'll get through that.
She'll be okay. I know the character of that young lady, and I seen it with somebody that I'm cool with.
I seen what she can do before.
She's gonna be all right. I still want her.
Right.
Well, how do we finish off before we start talking about the UConn? How do we finish off our high school career? What's that look like? I know you don't like talking about yourself, but what's the status? We're all American status. Do we win any titles? What we do?
I came back towards the end of this season, like after I tore my ACL my senior year. Mm-hmm. I came back. I was 8 points shy of scoring my 2,000th point prior to, tearing my ACL. So it's just like that first game back, I was getting shots up and I wasn't hitting. I'm like, yo, kid, it's 8 points. It's 8, but it was the longest and hardest 8 points that I've ever scored in my life. So that first game back, like the crowd was crazy. Like everyone was there, my physical therapist, like all of my family, like they were all there in support of me getting my point, and like them just seeing me overcome that obstacle that I dealt with. That was one of the hardest things I've ever dealt with too. That's the surgery. But I came back and I finished my senior year. We won the state championship, the first in Copiague school history. So like after that, I'm heading off to the #1 school in the country. So my high school career, it finished on a good note.
Congratulations on that. Thank you. That's some great perseverance. I just want to give you the flowers now. That's major in your perseverance as a young adult, because you could have, you could have just pouted about it and not took on that opportunity to grow and that challenge, but you did. State title.
Thank you.
You step on
that.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're at UConn. Who's there? Like UConn, UConn is one of those programs. Who's there when you're there? Like, when we step on campus, who's over there? Name some names and let's talk about this.
Diana Taurasi was gonna be my teammate. Had I stayed at UConn, I would have been playing side by side with Diana Taurasi. Wilnett Crockett was there. Pardon me for forgetting names. Barbara Turner was there. They were a solid program when I was stepping into it. And they were looking for a point guard spot. It's just unfortunate, physically and mentally, I wasn't ready. Coming off that ACL, I did my thing in the high school level, coming back in that state championship. But that #1 school in the country, that work was hard work. I'm telling you, Tristan, I am telling you, 30-pound sandbags on your back, running up football stadium steps in 90-degree weather.
That's different.
I've never done that. Like, I'm like, what is this? I'm coming off surgery. These people are crazy. I'm going home.
Right. So let's talk about that situation, because, what was the conversation like with the parents, and what was the conversation like with Gino before you made that decision into the next decision?
They begged me to stay. My parents begged me to stay. Like, here, you're making a mistake. I'm 17. I think I know it all. I don't want to be here. I want to come home. I don't want to be here. I didn't realize the impact of that decision at that point at 17 years old. I remember I was on the phone with my grandmother. I'm standing outside of Gino's office about to walk in, and I'm on the phone with my grandma, and she's begging me, Kia, please. I love my grandma to death.
Right.
Begging me, please don't do it. Please don't do it. The phone hangs up. I lose connection to her. And I took that as a sign to just go into the office.
Just go do it.
But maybe I could have looked at that a different way, but I'm like, all right, the phone disconnected. There's no more pressure not to, to stay here. So I walked in the office and I told him, and he was just like, are you sure? He was just like, I can send you to junior college, and when you finish there, you can come back. Are you sure you want to leave? He wanted me to come back. Like, he wanted me just to get that experience at the junior college level, because he understood that sometimes kids are not ready for this impactful type of basketball. So he wanted me to just step into that JUCO and then eventually come back, just so I could, I guess, get my mind right, get my body right. And then,
sure, it's maturing to this space, because I mean, this is a jump. Like, we know,
yeah.
he sees the physical talent there. He knows that you have the ability. We just got to get your mind right coming off this injury to level up to this, because you are there, and I'll be willing to help you, because he understands the level of player that you are. He understands the level of program that this is, that he established. And he's like, you sure that you want to step away from this?
Yeah. He looked at me, he was like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm sure. And like, even in that moment, like, he still showed how much, like, he really, I'd say he cared for me in a sense. Because he's seen that, you know, I was struggling with it.
Yeah.
But I just decided not to, and just came back home this way. And I called over to St. John's because it was, I guess I just wanted to be close to my comfort. And then St. John's is maybe like 25, 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Just wanted to be around my comfort. You know, I was dealing with that. Even though UConn is like only 2.5 hours away, I still wanted to be around my family to get me through this. So it was a lot. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Another phone call trying to sleep through.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
So you transferred from UConn and hit up St. John's, and they probably was on the first thing smoking, like, yes. Yes.
Like Coach Kim Barnes and Rico, she couldn't believe it. She thought she was being pranked. She was like, you leaving UConn? Like, and you want to come here? I think their record was like, they maybe won 3 games when I was trying to get there.
They weren't very good.
Yeah, no. But let me tell you something. I love Coach Stringer. I love him. But that would have been my second option to go there. But when I called to make the decision, tell her the decision that I was going to UConn, and to thank her for everything that she's done during the recruiting process, she didn't get to the phone. They hung up the phone. She hung up the phone before I could even say thank you for everything. So I'm just like, dang, we left on that bad note like that. I would have definitely chose to go to Rutgers, because I built a connection with Coach Stringer as well. Yeah, but it just didn't work out that way. So St. John's it was.
So we're at St. John's University. They're in the Big East. So you're going to see UConn, and they're not very good, but it's closer to your comfort zone. And you use that term. And that's something that we talk about. I know I talk about with some of my young athletes, is sometimes learning how to, you know, be able to face getting outside of that. So you're speaking about going into it, which is fascinating, because you was outside of it.
I was.
So now we're at St. John's. Let's talk about it.
What I say now that I'm a grown adult, there's no room for growth in the comfort zone. It's kind of choppy.
Yeah, a little choppy, but I heard it. I'm still with you.
Still good?
I'm still good on my side. There's no room for growth inside of the comfort zone.
All right, so in the comfort zone, you know, like I wouldn't say that I didn't blossom into who I needed to be going there, but I believe sometimes getting away from your comfort zone allows you to grow a little bit faster. It took me a longer time to get where I needed to be, because I was just so stuck in being comfortable. Yeah. So again, I wasn't ready for that challenge to step out of my comfort zone. But I will say there's growth in being uncomfortable. So don't be afraid of it. Do not be afraid of it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And your story is unique. It's very unique. You don't hear young athletes getting recruited by the top school and then going there and then saying, "No, this is not my fit right now." We're at St. John's University. What is this like? Because it's a complete flip from the program at UConn.
Oh, it started off rocky. I ain't gonna lie, you know.
Nah, don't lie. Let's keep it 1,000. Talk to me.
I'm sorry, guys. FedEx is here. Right. Kia, right? All right, no problem. All right. So yeah, I wish I had a package coming to me. Who's sending me flowers? But but because when you transfer from one school to another, you have to sit out that year.
Right.
So me not being able to pick up a basketball, it was tough. I was overwhelmed, like going to college, courses and going to class. I didn't want to go to class. I would say I was kind of depressed. Like, what am I going to class for? I can't even play during the season. Like, get out of here.
Right.
So at one point, I decided I didn't want to play ball anymore. I didn't want to be in school. So I told the coach, like, I don't want to do this. So again, I left St. John's, but I guess they didn't want me to give up on myself. So they allowed me to like sign a waiver that I'll take a semester off. And when I come back, I will have to go to therapy just to get my mind right. Because what I was dealing with was a lot. Now that I look back on it, like I'm 17, making a decision to leave the #1 school in the country, transfer to another school, still have to do intense workouts, go to class. Like that's all new to me, And I would say when I came back and being away from the game, that made me love it and miss it so much more that I appreciated everything that was given to me and everything that I was blessed with. It just made me appreciate it so much more. So I did my therapy. I got through it. That changed my life. That changed my life.
Wow.
A lot of people, especially in our community, they look down on therapy. Honestly, even as a grown adult, I still have a therapist to get through life sometimes. And like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's very helpful, life-changing. I will say that. I'm not ashamed of that.
Right.
So it got me through one of the toughest points of my life. And then from there, I was at I would say my 10th grade year. My first game out, I scored 33 points. It was at a St. Bonaventure tournament. And I remember scoring my 33 points my first game out. So it was just like, oh, shoot, I still got it. Like I'm out here, my first college game, I'm scoring 33 points. Like everything that I've been through, it was worth it. And then every year we just got better. Every year we got better as a team. I would say the first time in 17 years, we went to the NCAA tournament. So we were making history together at the same time.
You end up making history. But what I'm hearing is that you recognize that I'm not good and you accepted help.
Yeah.
I need help. I need help. And it doesn't matter where you fall at in age-wise. There's going to come a time where you might need some help. And it's okay to get that help.
Oh, wow. I've needed help in more ways than one. Not just getting through this basketball, but just getting through life.
Wow.
Like I was lost. I'm good enough to play professional basketball. I contract with the Liberty. I get hurt in camp. I get waived. I try to play on this exhibition team. I tear my meniscus. I get a contract with Puerto Rico. Doesn't work out there. Contract with Croatia. Doesn't work out there. Like I'm lost out here in life. Like basketball was my life since 7 years old. So now I'm depressed. Like I don't want to work a job. Like I hated working. Like 9 to 5s. Like every job that I got, I was ready to get up out of there, So it's just like, I felt lost. I needed help. I needed help. I was down and out for a lot of years. I would say that. And I got the help that I needed. And it changed my life again as a young woman. I received the help. I wasn't ashamed to say I need help. So
beautiful.
There's nothing wrong with getting help, guys. There's nothing wrong.
We all need help in something. So for you to say that, especially because you were, if we can say it, at the pinnacle of at the mountaintop of an athletic career, like from early, your trajectory is super high, and you're at the top school. Can't get much higher than that. But there was still internal stuff that you was dealing with. And it caused you to make decisions and inside of that, you're like, I need help. And wherever your help is, some people, they don't take it. They look at it as a sign of weakness. You said,
Nah,
I'm going to embrace this help. Whether you go in there kicking and screaming, boy, I'm going to take this help. And now as a young woman, you're like, take the help when it's there.
there's strength in saying I need help.
It
There's
really
no
is.
weakness in that. There's no weakness in having emotions. There's no weakness in, sometimes falling flat on your face and realizing that you need somebody to pat you on your back or pick you up by your shirt and get you up. There's no weakness in that. We all fall short sometimes. And it doesn't say anything about you. Your character is just the fact that it's life, unfortunately. And like, just reach out, help, find, if it doesn't have to be your family, it could be somebody, or I don't know, but there's always room and there's room for help in your life. Don't be ashamed of it. Embrace it. I'm telling you from someone who been through it all. Like,
Absolutely.
help is needed in all areas of life sometimes.
I'm blown away because I mean, I pretty much grew up right. Copiague and Amityville, and they right there. We
Yeah.
in the same circle, and these are some of the things that I didn't know. So again, I really appreciate you being.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know the story, Tristan. I hold it in. I hold a lot in. I deal with a lot. I've dealt with a lot. But one thing my father told me is you always walk with your head high. Always, you never let people know your circumstances. And there was times where I was financially messed up.
Right.
But my dad, he was just like, I can't have you. I'm gonna get you that car. I'm gonna help you get this car. And he always made sure that I knew who I was despite my circumstances.
Right.
Like, because we are not defined by our circumstances.
Right.
So it's just like, again, I hold a lot in. I don't be out here broadcasting everything, but
no,
I've dealt with a lot. But it's just like, I appreciate platforms like this that allow me to speak and release this and stuff. So people know the truth about me. Everything ain't all peachy over here in Kia Wright's world.
it's beautiful.
I've been through a lot.
Because first of all, there's somebody that's going to see this and they're going to be able to resonate with them. And if you're one person, that's good enough. But I also think it's therapeutic for one another to build like that. First, for you to be transparent. You don't got to hold this and walk around with this book bag. You know what I mean?
Right.
Put that thing down. Put that thing down. And especially in the Black community, when it comes to being an athlete, there's sometimes a feeling, and I can speak on it from my standpoint, if you don't reach a certain level, that even the expectation for yourself, but then you put it on other people, like, dang, they expected me to get here, I failed. You're like, I failed. And that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true that you feel. We're still here. So that we can still be very impactful. And that's what this is doing. So again, I'm really
Absolutely.
you coming on here and you being transparent is beautiful. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity again. So again, I'm proud of you. I've watched you. Watched you grow since high school. So you've had a tremendous career too. So you deserve your flowers as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So what are we doing with our time now? What's Kia Wright getting into now? And what can we look forward to seeing her get involved with?
Well, me being the person that I am, I always wanted to be living within my purpose and doing things within my purpose. Like, I love people, I love giving back. So I always wanted to work in a field where I'm doing that. I worked with adults with disabilities. I was a correctional officer at one point, but I couldn't stay with that. I couldn't do that for too much longer. But I work in a hospital now. I'm a patient care associate, so taking care of the elderly in the hospital. It's not always the elderly in there as well. So it's just like, I'm always trying to give back in a way with what I do, so that my life is continuously to be purposeful. I also have a business, a training business. I built a court in my backyard. And it was during the time where they took the rims off the courts at these parks. I'm like, no, these kids got to play basketball some way, somehow. We got to continue this for them. They got to be outside. Because I grew up being outside. Right. That's what we're getting away from sometimes with these youth. The youth, they gotta they gotta experience that. You know, we didn't have cell phones back in the day, what we did, but that was later on. But we used to knock on our friend's door, like, come on, let's go down to the park and play ball. Like, let's go around the corner. So these kids, we got to get back to them being kids. So that's what part of the reason why I built this court in my backyard. So I have that business going, again, giving back in a way, in a sense. So again, I'm just continuing to live through my purpose and enjoy what I do and love what I do.
That's beautiful. So let me ask you, growing up, did you feel like basketball was your identity?
I did.
You did? If we're gonna be 1,000, because I know I did, you know what I mean? It's not proud to say, but you're like, yo, this is part of my identity. And you know what I mean? It shapes the way you think as a young athlete, especially it's a pressure cooker because you're always getting ranked and you're constantly comparing, people are comparing you to other people. It's hard to get on the other side of that. So did you feel that too?
I felt it a lot. Yeah. And like, at one point, like after, you know, all my injuries and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm more than a basketball player. Like I have much more to give to this world than just being a basketball player. And that's when I started stepping into like working in different fields with, you know, again, with adults with disabilities. And, you know, I started coaching. Like, even though I was a basketball player and I love the game so much, I am more than that, you know, and I'm a teacher. I'm a giver. Like I'm a selfless individual that can do more than just putting the ball between my legs and scoring a basket. So I realized that at a later age, after all the injuries. So it was just like, I want to do something purposeful besides just playing on a basketball court. You know, I'm not just a basketball player. And I think that's what a lot of athletes get caught up in. Like you're more than that. You know, you can be basketball player, but you're more than that. You know, don't forget that. You know, explore other passions that you have as well. You're not just a basketball player.
Absolutely, and you I couldn't have said that better myself. Is being more than just a basketball player and not having your identity tied up into the game just like that. Because you and I both know now there's going to have to be a transition to adulthood. You can have the best career ever, but it's only going to last so long. What are you going to do? And how can you find joy and peace inside of life? And it's really a hamster wheel when it comes to sports, if you allow it to be.
Right. I agree. Right? I never forget a conversation after all the injuries. And I'm like, they was like, kid, why don't you ref? I'm like, I ain't no ref. What's wrong with you? I'm not a referee. I'm a basketball player. Like, I want to be on the court playing.
Right.
And guess who got their referee license later on? Me. Right. So it's just like, I had to put that pride aside. And sometimes it's hurtful. It's hurtful because you want to play, but you're more than that. You know? So again, like you said, it's a hamster wheel. We can use it. We can use our passions to feel other things going on. Sorry if it's getting loud around
here. You're good. No, you're right, because now I try to teach, you know, I'm in the field with the fitness and dealing with the young athletes, and that it's a conduit, it's an avenue. It's an avenue for you to be able to, you know, create a lot of different opportunities for yourself. Like we said, you can have a great career, 10 years in the NBA, 15, 20, still gonna be a young man or a young lady done. What are you gonna do? We gotta start looking at that.
Still gotta go home and be with yourself and realize what else can you do.
Yeah, when I lost and everything, it changed my whole mood. You know what I mean? Now you're not acting the same around the people that love you. And we got to find that balance. We got to be able to find that balance because each day is precious, especially in the midst of what we've been dealing with for the past, you know, since the pandemic. We recognize the value of each day. At least I can say that.
Oh, definitely. This pandemic changed my life mentally as well. So it just took me, it allowed me to appreciate a little bit more. I appreciated things previously, but this experience right here, it changed a lot of like my mental perspective on a lot of things. So even though it's an unfortunate situation, it allowed a lot of people to step into certain things that they would have never really tapped into. So it did change a lot of things in his lifetime, but I left something out. A lot of people, I don't know if they know that I took over the varsity program at Copiague.
Yeah.
So I was coaching for like 3 seasons on the JV squad, and Gabby Gibson, she was going to be the varsity head coach. And I was going to stay JV. I was fine with that. Like, as long as like the program is in both of our hands, I'm okay. I didn't need to step into the varsity position just yet. I was okay with being. Sorry about that, guys. My dog, little nuts.
Yeah, life is happening around me.
This is just to show you that life just be throwing things at you. You just gotta roll with the punches. But
absolutely.
But Gabby Gibson, she decided she left during the pandemic. She moved.
Okay.
So the next person up was me, and I stepped into it. You know, and we played during the pandemic. There was testing every week, mask. I was so mad that we had these girls playing in masks, but they made it work. And they just wanted to just play. You know, we had a 6-game season. We had maybe 2 practices to prepare for our first game. There was a lot of injuries, but the girls, they got through it. You know, they pushed through it. It was an unfortunate situation, but I got my feet wet as a varsity coach. So it was just like, I was appreciative of it. So I got the experience. I'm like, okay, this is not bad. It's a lot of things that come with the varsity program that I didn't experience as a JV's coach. So wow. I'm glad it kind of happened for me, like during a short season.
Yeah, you got a little dose of that thing right now. So now you're like, okay, I'm like that.
Yeah, got my feet wet. So I'll be ready next season come October.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So I think that's a perfect fit for you. All of these things are great fits because you mentioned earlier in it that you're a selfless player, but that's not just player, you're a selfless person. So you're a giver. So I think it's only right that you give to some of the people that are inside of what you were doing. And you can start sprinkling and doing it for people that's not even in the athletic world. I think that's beautiful. I think it's a perfect situation for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And again, just thank you. You are a legend. You are a legend, and you don't talk about yourself. So I'm gonna talk about you. I'm gonna talk about you for everybody. You know what I mean? I'm proud to say that you're from our same area, and you've held yourself with high esteem, and you definitely carried the mantle on what a student athlete should be. And then even when things didn't go your way, you show perseverance and you show great character in the midst of adversity. And just seeing you to be a beautiful young woman and willing to continue to pay it forward is something that I'm proud of. So you're well celebrated over here, not just in your athletic career, but you as a woman.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Seriously.
You're very welcome. So here, let's give a full nugget for everybody that's watching. Let's put a bow on this thing and go enjoy the rest of our day. So, yeah, give them one last, give the audience one last thing to grab hold of before so close us out.
So if you're here at this point, you pretty much watched the whole thing. Hopefully you watched the whole thing. And hopefully I could be a living testimony that, you know, you are not defined by what you go through in life. It's all about how you respond to those things. And, you know, you're gonna fall on your face sometimes. You're gonna get disappointed. You're gonna get heartbroken. You know, unfortunately, that's a part of life. But as me sitting here today talking to you guys, like, I'm still here. I'm walking in my faith. I'm walking in my spirituality. Like, with my family, I can still say that those circumstances made me who I am today. And even though I couldn't see when I was going through them, that it was going to shape my life and shape me into the person that I am today, I can say I appreciate those experiences because I will these things to you right now. Your support system is very important. Surround yourself with people that love you and don't make you question it. Question their love for you. And sometimes you need people to see you for you, even when you don't. So it's very important to surround yourself with good people. So that's my words. Those are my words. It's my experience, my testimony. And hopefully, you know, I could change somebody's life, and hopefully you start looking them within yourself and seeing the greatness. And despite your circumstances, you can get through them.
Kia, that was perfect. That was perfect ending.
Mm.
Love you. And thank you for your time. For those who watch this thing through and through, we thank you. And remember, share this content, hit that subscription button, and click that notification bell. Until next time, much love.
Thank you so much, Tristan.
Welcome. We'll talk. Bye.